I'd like to call to order our June USD 345 school board meeting. I think we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we will have Brayden start us off.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
I so move.
Moved and seconded by Brayden. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Learning without limits. Mr. Weems. There you are. Hello, sir. You are presenting somebody, if you'd like to come up to the podium.
Sounds good. Hey, I'm here to introduce Brody Anderson, who I've been privileged to coach for the last 4 years. If you follow the state track meet a week and a half ago, he finished second in the 3200, second in the 1600, and then finished it off with a state championship in the 800 meter. So just to be brief, first off, I'd like to thank our coaching staff. Coach Peterson was such a strong advocate for Brody throughout the season and throughout his career. And our consultant, Jack Horacek, has been a wonderful resource and has helped us out a lot with him. The one thing kind of two things, and they're a little bit contradictory. One is the first time that I saw Brody run was at our middle school cross country camp, and there was so much joy in the way that he ran. It looked so easy. He smiled. And you could see the excitement and potential they had. The kind of opposite thing is there were times for him where it was very difficult. It was very hard, up to and including that last meet where I think even after that 1600 where he ran wonderfully, placed second, but doubts arose a little bit after that. And he had to compose himself, come back, and then he took control of the 800 and brought home the state championship to all of us. So, Brody, do you have a few words or no?
I just thank everyone for all the support. Yeah.
And you graduated this year, and what are your plans for?
I'm gonna continue running at Washburn University.
Ooh, that's awesome. So we have a certificate for you. Mom, I don't know if you want pictures. You guys don't have to stay for the meeting if you don't. Just making sure you knew that.
You can.
Yeah. You're really bold.
Very inviting. Public communications, anything, Candace? No. All right. Mr. Wilson, superintendent remarks.
Yeah, thank you. So this is a little public participation. I want you to raise your hand if you have made a mistake in the past year.
How many hands?
Some of us may have made a few more than one.
Oh, I thought you were pointing at me.
No, that was this guy.
I'm like, wow.
But if each of our employees in the district makes only one mistake all year, that's over 3 mistakes each day in our district. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that we make dozens of mistakes each day of varying consequence. But for the most part, our individuals and teams do an extraordinary job of making great decisions, doing what is best for students, and doing their best to make our district great. I'm extremely proud of our staff members, the results they get, and the care they take of the kids in our community. We aren't perfect, and there's a lot of room for improvement in this very difficult work, but I'm extremely proud of the things our students, their teachers, coaches, paras, bus driver, food service workers, and so many others have accomplished this year. We won't stop improving until working together We achieve our mission of preparing each student for lifelong success. Our children are too important to ever be good enough. And we'll continue to be accountable to each other for those results. However, I'd like everyone to think about accountability a little different than maybe a test score. Not because tests aren't important, but because some have used test scores as a weapon of school destruction. So play on that, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, test scores aren't accountability, they are measures of achievement. Accountability is about ensuring you continue to get better and are the absolute best version of yourself. Do you know who I'm most accountable to? Who causes me every single day to look in the mirror and choose to be better than I was yesterday? Who I give everything for, so I can live up to everything they think I am. My wife, my kids, those who care about me most. On my whiteboard in my office, I have the following quote. Caring means not being less than your best and not allowing those in your care to be less than their best. Thus, caring isn't a feeling, but actions that hold yourself and others accountable for being everything they were created for. We need accountability. The type of accountability that we have to each other when we care about each other, and in particular, our students enough to be our very best for them and to ensure that they reach their awesome potential. And again, you just saw a young man who they had high expectations for, and our kids will reach them if we just keep pumping into them and have those high expectations. I want our district to be radically student-centered, doing everything to ensure their success. And I promise you that our test scores will be everything we had ever hoped for. We wouldn't let them be anything but that. I'm so proud of our staff and students, and I care tremendously for them, and I want to see them live their best lives. We can only do that if we are a well-functioning team that takes care of each other as if they were our family. It has been another great year, and next year will be even better as we grow as a district, including all of our families, to care about each other and support each other to be our best. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great, Mr. Wilson. Ditto, everybody. It's great. So president remarks, board remarks. Does anybody have anything that they would like to share?
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
This is my favorite of our board meetings because I love having the activities and athletics people present to us and tell us about how our kids are involved beyond academics. As everyone here knows, I'm a very, very strong advocate for keeping kids involved in our buildings. Grades are not the only reason our kids come to school, and this is, I was all excited when I realized that this was the meeting tonight.
Thanks, Diana.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Better be good.
I have something. This is Lance and the maintenance crew season right now, so I guess I would just say, please be sure that the maintenance department thank them for me, and I think from the board, because that's one of our
Board goals.
board goals is to have beautiful facilities and have things look nice and be well maintained in the district. So thank you, and thank your crew for us, please.
Thank you, Diana. And Tom. Anybody else? Well, I just wanted to share that everybody knows that I am on the KASB Board of Directors. And if you didn't know, I am your Region 2 Vice President. And so we had a little board retreat this weekend, and they gave us a engagement report for how engaged our district is with their association. And I just wanted to rattle off a few things that I thought was kind of interesting. So far for this year, our district has invested over 158 hours engaging with KASB, which I thought that was really cool. We are ranked 79th in overall member engagement and 20th among districts of our size. And then there's also some really nice kudos on here. So congratulations to Board President Michelle Caudill on her selection to the current LFT, or Leadership for Tomorrow, and to Business Director Lisa Mirando on being chosen for the current Bold class. So we are excited to celebrate your accomplishments and your upcoming graduations coming up. And so I just wanted to put it out there that KSB Plus is something that is part of our not subscription, membership. Yeah. sorry, words are hard. And they're like our view as board members is going to look a lot different than district staff. And so our portal is really made for us board members. So there's a lot of like online courses. We always talk about policy. So policy updates are on there. So I just wanted to share that that is a resource for us as board members and not just the district. So if you need your login, please let me know and I can get it for you. But I just thought it was really interesting and I'm happy to share the report if you would like to see it. So that's all I have. All right, moving on. Disposition by business by consent. I need a motion, please.
I make a motion to, oh,
Go ahead, Ben.
to approve our disposition of business by consent.
Moved by Diana, seconded by Kyle. Any discussion? Hearing none, everybody raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On to action or discussion items. We have athletic activities reports. Who's going first, Mr. Euler?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming tonight. I was told that I have to keep it to like 45 minutes, so I will try to keep it to 40. Oh wait, you said 45 seconds.
I mean.
Maybe 4 to 5
45
minutes.
minutes or less.
Over to 5.
This is okay.
I'll try to keep it short. I know you guys have a lot on the agenda today. Just thought I would give you kind of an update. We kind of caught that last late season. We didn't get to come talk to you, so I thought we'd start there. Just kind of looking at our numbers. Both of our boys basketball teams did not finish the season like they had hoped. They fell short of the championship, but they're better players, they're better young men, they're better teammates, and that's all we want at the middle school level. And we want them to stay out. We want them to continue to play. We want them to continue to participate. Bowling did a great job. Girls won the league championship again, which is fantastic because a lot of our kids don't come in with a lot of bowling experience. We've only, since the North shutdown, we've gone down to quite a few kids that don't play, except for during the season. So that's pretty amazing that they could do that. Girls wrestling, we had a lot of success for our second year. Lots of kids out. We bumped our numbers up to 30 girls that started for us. And then we had 2 individual champions and several other medal winners. Very impressed with how those young ladies handle themselves on and off the mat. These are leaders in the building, not only on the mat, but also in the hallways as well. Golf numbers, I'm a little disappointed with our golf numbers, to be totally honest with you. I want those a little bigger. It's just tough. It's a specialized sport that not a lot of kids play. Same with tennis. Had a lot of great success individually there. Teams didn't necessarily win any championships, but they played well. And again, great teammates, great leaders in the building for us. We always appreciate that. Girls track and field, we had several personal records set throughout the season. And then we ended up with 2 actual league champions for Duranson in the 32 and Derby Twin with the girls shot. So very proud of them. Numbers continue to stay strong and we want to keep it that way as well. Track is one of my favorite because it gets the most people involved. On the boys side, lots of great, great athletes came out again. Lots of champions. Hudson Fox Open was part of 2 of those. And a lot of Charlotte Duke. I don't know how, but he jumped completely out of the pit almost, I think, when he set that record. So we're gonna get his plaque and stuff updated on there. So very, very proud of those 2 as well. We have lots of great participation. Notice the choir number. I did not have last year's up there, but I believe that we almost doubled our choir numbers. I want to say it was 48 last year or something like that. And we had 100 kids part of the choir this year. So I know that Mr. Vaughn was very, very happy with that. And then I wanted to highlight our FCCLA, FBLA, and National History Day kids. We had, I'm gonna put my glasses on, and then I will leave you guys alone. We had 35 kids out for FBLA, which is I think the biggest numbers I ever remember at the middle school. We had 14 that competed at state, 10 of those qualified, and 8 of those are going to nationals.
Wow.
In San Antonio
Great.
later this summer. We had 12 National History Day kids qualify, and so they'll be going to Washington DC shortly.
Movie Sunday.
Movie Sunday, nice.
My daughter.
And then I think our SCCLA numbers were down a little bit. I think we only had a couple of kids actually qualify for nationals in NCCLA 4. I can never remember that one, 2 or 4, but very proud of them. You know, we talk about leadership on a basketball court or on a football field or, you know, even in the hallways, but these are things that these kids are learning and they're going to take with them forever. So very proud of them and the opportunity they got to participate in. Any questions for me?
No.
How'd I do?
Great, Chip.
Good job.
No matter what the time was.
All right, guys, over the year for us with Seaman Athletics. First of all, we're 5A classification, put the numbers up there to show where our enrollment is. That puts us as the 12th largest 5A school out of the 36 teams, so the 36 schools that are there. All the teams that are in blue right there represent the teams that are in our conference, the United Kansas Conference. This year, we had 9 schools in the conference. We just picked up a 10th school, Spring Hill, that will join our league starting this coming fall, which helps out with a lot of scheduling. For example, for football, we just play all league opponents. For basketball, we play 18 games with league opponents, so it really helps with that. Plus, it's a nice even playing field as far as size is concerned. So we're kind of right down the middle of UKC. Go ahead, Jeff. Students that are involved in athletics right now, we have 53% of our population is involved in sports. That's not including activities. So when David shows his number, you put those two together and it's 80+% are out for something. If you look at male participants, 447, females 373. Some of them do multiple sports, so I don't want to skew the data too much, but total participation, we have 820 participants in our sports. A lot of stuff on here. I'm not gonna sit there and go through every little thing, but just some of the highlights from here. Obviously, I think we have 7 sports in the fall. With that, so postseason acknowledgement, Brody Anderson that was just in here was the UKC runner of the year. We had Elise Eckert was the UKC girls golf player of the year. Kinsley Smith was the volleyball defensive player of the year. Emma Sweeney, she got 2nd in state. She was the UKC girls tennis player of the year, and then Julie McLaughlin was our girls golf coach of the year in the league. So again, some of the sports we need to work on a little bit. So for example, football was 3 and 6 this year. They were 6th in the UKC out of 9. There were some injuries that kind of took place. For example, we also we went down to the wire with a team that got 2nd in state, which is Baser Linwood. We went on the road there and almost pulled out a win. Soccer, we had a new coach this year, so he's going through some learning curves with that kind of thing. But overall, like our tennis program, for example, was city champs, UKC champs, state runner-up, and we had multiple people that placed at state. The next slide is just kind of a picture culminating some of the good things we have going on. I can't show all the pictures we've taken throughout the year, but if you follow Seaman High School Facebook page, we try to post as much and early and often as possible. But that's our tennis team and golf team and how they did being UKC champs. Next, this is the winter. Again, on the left is all where the teams ended up as far as in the UKC. Some of the highlights would be like basketball. I don't know if we expected to be as good as we were in boys basketball this year. I knew we had some returners, but I don't know if anybody thought we'd be like this, but the team just gelled. So they were 23 and 5. 2nd in UKC. It came to a tiebreaker against Topeka West. And it had to do like with the 10th or 11th tiebreaker, and Topeka West got it. So we also had girls bowling was city champs, UKC champs, and state champs, which we've already come here and given them the respect and the recognition that they've got. Both boys and girls wrestling qualified several for state, so it was fun to go down to the Park City and watch some of the athletes go. Kayvon Bonner was the boys basketball player of the year. Girls. They were state champs in bowling. Bob Benoit and Tony Pena got coaches of the year. And Jeff, do you mind jumping back really quick? I just want to highlight some of the things that we do right there. We do a lot of hosting, it seems like lately. Keisha likes to ask us to host things, and I think that is, it's nice to know that they trust us to do that. But we hosted in the fall state tennis, which was an ordeal. We hosted state unified bowling, and then also 5A regional girls golf. And I also want to point out that this year new, we have under the umbrella of athletics, we have picked up our Vikings and our cheerleaders. And the rationale behind that is they are athletes. Number one, number two, with myself being in a lot of the events, I can help to, support and supervise what's going on with them. So I just wanted to point that out. So Jeff, jump forward too. We also hosted this year 5A sub-state basketball. There are 8 sub-states across state, and we got to host one. So the next one is some of the pictures of our kiddos. On the right, that's something that we started doing a little bit more this year. We actually have it at the end of the year, our coaches luncheon that we get everybody together. We give out awards. We actually opened up a new award this year, which is the Rick Brading Longevity Award. So any coaches that have been in the district 25 years or more, we gave them a certificate. But also you can see up there is also our girls state championship banner, which thank you, Candace ordering. It's already up and everything. We will do a dedication at a home event this coming year. But that's the girls with UKC trophy and our boys getting 3rd at state. All right, spring, get a lot going on with this stuff. Some of the highlights, Brody Anderson, you saw that state champion in the 800 meters. Ava Huston was the UKC girls soccer player of the year. There was two-person player of the year. Aubrey Warren was the UKC softball player of the year, and Kyle Sievers was the UKC girls soccer coach of the year. Girls swim, for example, got 2nd in state. I don't think they planned on that, but they just had a wonderful day. They all kind of came together at the end. Softball, 2nd UKC made it to the regional final, ran into a buzzsaw with Wichita Carroll. And then like girls soccer, for example, had a wonderful year. Lost to the 4A champs or 3A champs, whatever they are, Hayden. And then the only other loss we had on the season was to Washburn Rural, who went all the way as well. So we played amazing in a lot of the sports. I do also want to point out, we do host one of the premier track meets in the entire state every year, the Camion Welsh Relays. At 30 teams, 750 athletes. It takes dozens and dozens and dozens of workers. Several 6A boys and girls state champions, the team champions were there. So it's just a great event. So I know it's one of the things you guys are gonna be talking about as far as time is concerned, but it's a wonderful event. It takes a lot to make that thing go off. Next one. Here's some pictures. Obviously, our boys tennis team won the league. The girls on the right, because we did split with DeSoto on the UKC league this year. Both the DeSoto AD and myself got together on a phone call and just said it's not fair that the tiebreaker for that, which means like the 10th or 11th tiebreaker, is a coin flip. And we felt like that wasn't right. How do you go competing all year long and leave it to chance? So we got together with all the APs and we're gonna go and get another trophy. So we both have those. So we didn't have the trophy at that point. But then there's Brody with his state championship medal. Next, I just want to highlight 2 things, and I will be done. This is something that we do on a weekly basis. Randy James of Gambino's gives us certificates for people to get small pizzas. But every week during the seasons, our coaches nominate for each of their levels athletes of the week. So we get to highlight a whole bunch of kids for doing really good. And it doesn't have to be the people that are winning events, winning things. It's people that are good in practice, good teammates, that type of thing. And so we get to nominate and put on social media a lot of this stuff for positive public acknowledgement. So last slide that I have is something that's also really awesome for our student athletes is college signing days. We go 3 of them a year. This year we had 29 signings. I think we went 11, 9, and 9. We do those in February, or November, February, and May. It's a great acknowledgement for all the hard work and dedication that they've done. So we've got just a ton of positive feedback for that, and I cannot take the credit for all the circumstance. My secretary does an amazing job setting it all up. I just get to see it all. So, you guys have any questions for me?
I do.
Yes, sir.
What are the gate receipts since we joined UKC? Are they going up, or are they going down, or are they staying low?
You're gonna have to let me look at them specifically.
No, that's fine. I'm just,
We've done very, very well this year.
the ultimate question I've got for you, Travis is, are we in the right league? Are we where we need to be? Not saying yes or no.
I don't want to give you the wrong number, but I think we cleared $95,000 in gates. I don't want to give you the wrong number, I believe that's where we are, that's not counting passes or anything like that, but in 95,000 gates, but I don't want to be wrong, but I think we're, that's after gate sales tax,
Thank you.
yes. All right.
Thanks, Travis. Mr. Ralph,
Okay, well,
hello.
5 minutes, we'll highlight some of those activities, so yeah, I'll try to go quick for it. The numbers are a little bit different than kind of what Travis was talking about, and ours are a little bit skewed, because if you look at it, we have 1,303 kids on active rosters on the different clubs and activities that we do. But several kids do multiple clubs and activities. One of the things we actually talked about this morning in our planning is what we'll do with some of our time in our collaborative moments in the morning. And it will be highlighting kids that are in activities and athletics, and then teasing that out, as I put in there, what we're more interested in is the kids who are not participating, the non-participation list, because sports and activities is your best at-risk program that we have in our district. And so, as Travis was saying, when you put those two numbers combined, you got about 17% of kids that we need to identify. And once we do that, then we'll figure out why are they not participating or what are they doing instead. And then that will help us create some assistance for those kids to get them involved, or making sure that they're not slipping through the cracks, if you will. So to me, that's the whole point of why we're here, right? It's talking about what these numbers are and what they represent. You can see that our numbers for activities, that's through the High School Activities Association. Go ahead, Jeff. I do want to highlight our activity sponsor of the year is Mr. Guzman. That's our debate coach. Shout out to him as a former student, one of my former.
I was gonna say, who mentored that man?
He's awesome. Mr. Guzman is awesome. He's what I like about that though is it was highlighted and voted on from the staff. So they all voted for each other. He was the activity sponsor of the year. I also had to add pictures because I saw Travis had done that. I was like, oh no, I gotta do this.
Yeah, show you out.
I did it by the fall and the spring only. It's a little bit trickier. I'm sorry, by activities and athletics. I did it all kind of combined. And I couldn't highlight all of them because there's just too many. There's a few of the notes that you have in there. Band, for example, went to Winter Park this year, came back with several of the Superior Awards. That was a fun trip. It was actually really fun to watch kids go on a shopping spree at the grocery store. They do not know what they're doing, so we need to focus on that. Couple of state trophies in there as well. So debate took third in state again this year. They did awesome, and all of those activities are definitely improving. Another one that I would point out is Scholars Bowl. They made a huge improvement from last year to this year, and they went from actually close to last in the league to third in the league this year. So awesome for them. So that's just some of our highlights there. Oh, we did get the High School Activities Association Performing Arts School of Excellence Award. It's a commended award is what we got. That's a combination of all of those different organizations that are under the umbrella of the High School Activities Association. So theater, debate, speech, choir, band, all that, they vote on that. So we were commended by those organizations, which is a fantastic thing. That means our programs are doing well in the eyes of the state. They sure see Travis had them, so I had to have a league trophy too, Travis. Look at all those trophies that those kids are walking around with. But what that represents to me though is fantastic representation of our district out in the community, and wherever we travel, we have a great name that comes with us and we do well. Next slide. Then we look at clubs. We have 41 current clubs going on in the at the high school, and so all those numbers start representing that. I'll highlight just a few of them. I'm not going to talk about all 41 of them. Oh yeah, we'll talk about Miss Kemp. Go ahead. Yeah. Miss Kemp was the sponsor of the year. She's our yearbook sponsor. If you haven't seen her yearbooks, they're really cool. She's done a fantastic job the last couple of years. She's taken over that program, and staff are recognizing all the hard work that she's doing fantastic. So she was our club sponsor. Some highlights from different clubs. We had the Anchor Leadership Club, which is relatively new. A couple years ago, they did that mural on the football stadium that seniors have, like a legacy type project. We had some community outreach projects going on with the Suicide Prevention Club. The Art Club did a fine arts gallery at one of our theater productions this year, which I thought was cool. Our largest growing club is HOSA, which ties into our science organization. It's one of our pathways. So that grew quite a bit. Almost 60 kids are involved in that particular activity. So that's fantastic. And the last one that's on there, because we highlighted in sports, our basketball team, for example, I thought that was a huge community moment when we showed up down at Wichita. And if you go to the next slide, Jeff, it's one of the pictures I included there on the bottom. The student section, the amount of organization it took to get everybody down there was fantastic. Lots of comments made on how we're from Topeka down at Wichita, and we outnumbered the Wichita schools in the
Every
student
time.
section like 4-1.
I
So,
did happen to see shirts come off at one.
but they were there and they showed
Oh,
up.
they
and
were
were
awesome.
exceedingly there, right? So that's Spirit Club. That's the idea of bringing everybody together and supporting the community. And so the point of the activities, in my opinion, is how do we provide these special places for kids to get involved? Maybe it's not a sport that they're really in, but it's their thing and they can do that and they can get involved and be a part of the community and be a part of that championship that we, state trophy that we brought home. That was a cool thing. I think that's it.
Mr.
Any
Ross,
questions for me?
yes, did I see a fishing club on there?
We do have a fishing club, and that's
And-
also one of our larger clubs.
And so if you ever have a sponsor that leaves and goes away, give me a call.
I will do that.
Okay.
That is 100%. Any questions for me?
I do.
Next
Yeah.
time you make those
Obviously.
larger.
Slide 2 or something, you listed all of the athletics and events and extracurricular. What is a band auxiliary?
Band auxiliaries are band dance, so they used to be what would be known as flags. But now they have a combination of flag and dance, and they have a competition aspect to it. They're under the umbrella of the High School Activity Association, but they are attached to our band.
The second question, Jeff, if you could go to the club slide. Each club requires a sponsor, and this is just for my knowledge for engagement.
Yep.
How many of those clubs are sponsored by multiple teachers?
Some of them are, so some of the larger clubs.
So there's 41 clubs. Is it safe to say that we have 35 teachers engaged in this?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and so a lot of times the clubs are the things that the staff do because they're also interested in it, is what I would say. It's like that's a way to connect with kids, and so they get involved in that way.
Well, I think our staff needs to be, recognized for their extra time.
Oh, for sure.
Dedication in this also, because we're trying to add clubs to provide interest for every student. And if there's a club and you can find a sponsor, we've got a sponsor, right?
Understood.
If you can't find a sponsor, you can't have the club. So you're right. You're doing an excellent job.
We can call Brad.
I said fishing club. Some of those I'm not qualified for. Any choir.
He's out.
Yes, sir.
Do the sponsors for the club get any pay?
Not all. So some, it depends on what it requires for extra duty in terms of supervision. A lot of them take place like within the day, like the time frame of our advisory time, that sort of thing. Some of them require extra outside of their contract time, so they may. Depends on the club.
Next year, it'd be fun to be able to see how many kids are involved and everything.
In each one, oh, I have that.
Band numbers and such.
Yeah, I'll put a little bracket by each one of those.
Cause then I could blow it up, cause my eyes can't read all that.
I'll
Old
email it
age,
to you.
that'd be amazing, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Ralph.
Thank you, all of you.
Okay. I know, sorry, we should have.
Thank you, Jen.
Okay, Mr. Jones, random nicotine testing program.
The handout, so.
So disappointed in
We
Mr.
have enough
Jones.
growers, we could probably,
Oh, we're
everybody
good.
likes tutti frutti, but, so I'd like to discuss, removing nicotine testing from our random drug testing program. First, I want to be very clear that Seaman High School, we remain fully committed to providing a safe, drug-free, alcohol and tobacco-free school. We know nicotine use is harmful. We do not support or condone vaping or tobacco in any form. The question tonight is not whether it's harmful, whether this program is effective strategy in reducing nicotine use among our students. Over the past few years, we've had an opportunity to evaluate the effectiveness of the program and determine whether it's accomplishing the goal for which it was created. After reviewing the data and outcomes, I recommend that we discontinue the program as part of our random drug testing while we continue to test for illegal drugs. The reason is simple. We found no evidence that nicotine testing is producing the results that were intended. The program was created as a preventative measure, so it would deter students from using nicotine and provide an avenue for intervention where students tested when they tested positive. After several years of implementation, we've not seen the data that demonstrates nicotine testing is significantly reducing amongst our students. Since 2021, only a small number of students have tested positive. During that same period, several thousand students have attended Seaman High School. That equates to about 0.5% of students that have tested positive. And while any positive indication is important, the overall rate is extremely low and raises questions about whether the program is an effective use of our district resources. The financial component of this, each test costs $59. If you remove the nicotine part of it, that reduces it by 7. While that's not a huge amount, but with the hundreds and hundreds of tests that we do, that it does have money that goes back into other programs that we can use. Especially since we talked budget earlier this year. When we look beyond our district, and Travis had talked about our conference, there's 10 teams in the conference. There's only 2 schools that do drug testing. It's us and Shawnee Heights. And we are the only school that does nicotine testing. So while we should never make our decision based on what schools are doing, but kind of look at why is it not that important to them, or what other avenues do they seek for that. Another factor is the changing environment of vaping. Over the past few years, we've seen increasing acceptance of nicotine and vaping among families. Several times that this year when we've confiscated vapes, the family basically says, yeah, I bought it for it. And so we're trying to fight a battle that we're losing, and we're not getting that support. Some of our school-based consequences are alone not enough to discourage the behavior. So we need that successful partnership with families. And if we're not doing that, then we're kind of spinning our wheels. Another part of it is the connection with PARS, and I cannot remember what the acronym of PARS, but so when a student tests positive, that we connect them with them, and they're supposed to meet with them to come up, talk about their addiction and plan to moving forward. And we've had either they have staffing issues, they've lost some funding, even had another parent report she took her daughter there, and the PARS representative was vaping in front of them. And so it's kind of hard, you're sending that message that this is bad. This is what our students are encountering. I really want to emphasize this recommendation is not about lowering expectations or becoming more tolerant of vaping, because nicotine is still prohibited in our school, and we still have, vape sensors in our bathrooms, and we still, try to make sure that everyone is doing the right thing in the school. It's just, I don't believe that it's having the impact that we would like it to have. And as education leaders, we have the responsibility to ask ourselves, is each program that we're supporting, is it working? And I don't think that this one is working.
Mr. Jones, what's the consequence for if they were tested as positive? Obviously, they have to do the PARS, but then is there anything else?
Never. Go ahead.
Yeah, if they self-report, so if they come in to do the testing and like, hey, I'm going to test positive. If they self-report, then they have a referral to PARS and they have to bring back the form and pretty much stay in and they retest in 90 days. Because usually that's about how long it takes for it to get out of the system, so it's not in the hair follicles. If they don't self-report, it comes back, then it's a 21-day the first time, lose the parking privileges and stuff, and
Okay,
so some of
Just
the,
same as the drugs.
that's correct. So it's the same, so nicotine and drugs have the same impact
okay.
also.
Yes,
You
guys?
said the nicotine was 0.5%.
Yes,
What's your rest of your test? What's the percentage on those?
I don't have the number for like THC and vapes, I was focusing more on that, but I can get that. for you.
That's, yeah, just.
I had one more question.
Yes.
With PARS maybe not being the most effective partner, are there other partners available that we, not necessarily for?
In doing some research, there's county resources and also in our health classes, we cover, don't use nicotine, drugs and stuff. And a lot of times either here or previous schools, I always recommend families get with their family physician. They usually know their child best. So there are a lot of resources online available.
Is this, it's discussion, but is this something that would need to go into the handbook?
Yes. In fact, I was talking with a good friend over here, Jeff, that so for the enrollment packet, which he'll be working on this week, that information in there. So if we did make a change for next year, change would need to be a lot this week, basically today. So he could remove that from the handbook. So in the enrollment.
It's been an action item.
If you guys are looking to approve this, let's vote on it. Probably not a bad idea.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion that we move the nicotine testing as presented to an action item.
Second.
Moved by Kyle, seconded by Donna. Any more discussion on it? Any more questions for Mr. Jones? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand, and say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Candace? Yes. Will that just go to the bottom of our action item? Okay. Thank you. Mr. Johnson, hello.
Hello.
We've seen you a lot.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Yes, thank you. It's good to be back here this evening to talk to you about our laptop proposal. Had just a request to talk a little bit more about why we're proposing laptop stay at school, so not sending them home with students. Just to give you a little bit of a timeline on how we came kind of to this decision that we're proposing tonight. We started talking about it with different leadership groups, our building leadership team, and then our guiding coalition. Both went through and talked about the benefits of having that. And so proposing it for a variety of reasons. One of those being prioritizing classroom instruction and focus on standards instead of necessarily homework. And then also sending work home at this point. A lot of what we're seeing is students are using AI to complete it. So focusing on completing work in the classroom with a teacher, as opposed to sending it home to where they may use artificial intelligence to do it for them. What I really want to draw your attention though to is the work that our technology department has done in terms of when we send our computers home, a lot of our students are using them to access proxy sites. I didn't really have a good understanding of this, so I asked Mr. Turing, our tech person at SEMA Middle School, to explain it to me, and he started that explanation, and I had no clue what he was talking about. So he explained it to me like a middle schooler. I didn't work either. Explained it to me like 5, and what we finally got to, and Jeff maybe can speak to this better than I can, but basically they go home, they download the proxy. It looks almost like a Google search engine is how he showed it to me, and they can search just about anything when they come back to school, be able to go to really any website they want to. And he has compiled a list of about 8,000 different proxies that represents about 1/3 of our students who've done that. That creates a real discipline backlog for Mr. Euler and myself. dealing with those.
So if they're at school, our filters won't let them do that. Or what's the
So,
deal? Or-
well, the way proxies work is they are basically bypasses around any sort of filter. Thousands of them pop up daily. So we, as soon as we find them, and we've got a list of 8,000, we stop them. They'll go home tonight, hunt around on the internet for 2 or 3 hours until they find a few that work. And then when they come back the next day, they can screw around in class.
And when they're at school on our Wi-Fi, they can't do that.
No, what he's saying is that specific site that they go to bypasses
Right.
all of it, so
But
they,
They're trying
I
to,
would say the biggest thing that's stopping it, and Jeff, correct me, is that we have supervision at school.
You've got
Yeah.
somebody standing around the kids watching what they're doing. When they're in the building, when they go home, that doesn't happen. Okay. A lot of times
Yeah.
kids are left to their own devices for hours at home, and that's when this becomes a problem.
I did appreciate the list of the number of times
Yes.
those sites were accessed as well. That was very interesting and eye-opening.
So is that mainly, can you tell from your list, is that mainly happening at the middle school? Or is it just across the board?
It is almost exclusively at the middle school. For whatever reason, it's that age.
Yes.
My staff and. Look at us.
I did.
You get it. The way we're set up, or at least we were last year, kids are getting their first laptop, it's theirs.
Yes.
They get seventh grade. Most of the time, that's about the same age kids are getting their cell phone. When they come to school, at the middle school, their cell phones aren't accessible all day long.
Yeah.
So all they have is their device or their laptop. So that's kind of what they're learning their limits on. And going home and maybe mom and dad aren't quite as vigilant.
Yes.
Because this is brand new to them too.
Yes.
So it does get bad in 7th and 8th grade. The high school doesn't seem to be near as bad. I think it was because they've kind of gotten used to their personal devices and they do the things that
Yeah.
they probably shouldn't do on their laptop, on their phones now.
I didn't know they did.
Yeah.
Because they have access to
Yeah.
them, right? We'll see what changes next year when they don't have access to
So
them.
my brain goes to those kids that are doing that most of all, they need to be in tech somehow.
Right?
They used to be.
There's times in my office, and we tell them, what you've done here is impressive. Yes. But don't do it at school. Hang on to their names, just in case.
My child was.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson, I do have a question.
Yes.
So I really like that we're focusing on ensuring that, you know, the kids aren't using AI and such. What happens with homework? Is homework not being assigned then, or what happens if a student like misses school and has homework?
I think our focus is gonna be on digital homework. They have the opportunity to complete it at school. And putting a lot of emphasis on our first professional development on just the right amount of homework. I think finding the right quantities is another aspect that we're really working on in middle school.
Will our students be able to check out a laptop if they're gone for a few days or some of our student athletes, even at the middle school level, is that a possibility?
We talked about it as a possibility, but as soon as you open it up,
Yeah.
then everyone's gonna want it, right? And so finding ways to accommodate them and have time at school to do it, I think is gonna be the better avenue. As soon as someone finds out they miss a couple days and now get to take it home, then other kids are gonna, they're
Yeah.
gonna find how to do that as well.
so Kyle, if they go have one at home, go to the Speak Public Library, get on a public laptop or computer, could they use that to do homework or
They
something?
could, but I think again, our emphasis wants to be on not having that good school life balance to where we don't have as much that we're sending.
But if a kid's sick, for
Yeah, if they're sick, if they want.
they could still get on school volunteer.
Right.
How could we do homework? Heaven forbid the old fashioned way.
Right.
Yeah,
A
actually.
lot of it,
Paper
make it accessible to do it, paper pencil as well.
Okay.
Write something with the pencil?
Yeah. I know, heaven forbid.
In cursive?
Let's not get crazy here.
Now we need
Well, I appreciate you went to your building leadership team, you talked to your parents, so I think.
Yeah, and the other part I failed to mention is our April PD day, we had a whole session on this as well. So our whole staff did talk about it. There's wide support. I'd say about 95%. 5% had some concerns as well. We got that feedback and we're working on addressing that with our teachers also.
I have a little concern for the hour that's just being brought forward. Just seems a little late in the ballgame. Yeah. I'm really torn. Not sure.
Sure. So one thing I wanted to bring to the board is it was not my plan necessarily to bring this back next month, as it is an administrative decision, but obviously the board has the right to. So I think if you want to have a decision, it would be to not allow this. If it is to allow it, that is pretty much what our principals do, is how they manage their technology, along with obviously our technology department. So probably what you need to let us know is if you want to make a change to what the middle school has planned, you need to let us know so we can bring it back and you can vote on it.
I think anything we can do to get the laptops out of our kids' hands 24/7 isn't a bad thing, and especially at the middle school level, I've heard concerns about the amount of homework kids are getting. I think this could be an interesting step. And I trust that our teachers and our administration will reevaluate as this goes on. If we get 3 months in and we're seeing continued, like, all of a sudden things we didn't think about, we can reconsider at that point, because the kids will still have their laptops at the school building during the school
Yep.
day.
One of my concerns is we approved having the laptops for them to have at their use. Yes, they choose to abuse, obviously, but are we using, I'm trying to think of my word, are we getting our monies for, does that make?
Well, they're still using them in school. They're
They
just
get them
not taking
during
them
the day.
home.
Right, but if they, okay.
I think, kind of to your point there, I think they're a fantastic tool. We definitely don't want our teachers to stop using Schoology, any of our Google Suite, the
Right.
numerous tools during the day. So we're not gonna.
Saying to have them at home for play,
Yeah.
saying to use them for projects or papers or all of that at home.
But I would go to this list of proxies here. I think the use at home.
It's not
I
for
would,
school.
yes. The vast majority of the use at home is not associated with school. Would that be accurate? Yes.
And I don't think this is a new issue either. We
Yeah.
kind of, over the years, monitored
Yes.
this kind of stuff. It's always been middle school.
Yes.
That's a problem child.
Yes.
Sorry.
And so I get that's just a part of the
It's-
future
and
of
it-
middle
it's
school, but I guess.
Not unique in that either. Most districts say the
Yeah.
same thing at that
Yeah.
age.
Absolutely, I lived it, so yes. So I guess I would look and say, I think you've done your homework, and I just personally, I look at this and I go. Yes, I think I defer to your
Especially
Kudos to Jeff Staff,
expertise.
Especially
and,
to during.
tech.
He did a ton of work, and please thank him for that.
Yes.
Those reports
Yeah.
were great.
Better than
Yes.
I also want to make sure, sorry,
Could we ask that maybe we get a report on this 3 or 4 months into school?
Big,
That's great.
And find out how things are going
Yeah.
and how our teachers are adapting and our students are adapting. And what poor Jeff is adapting to. You're sneaky, we'll
See
still
if
find
you're
something to do.
I'm also just curious, Deidre, of course, accommodations, everything, as long as it.
Discuss that. You have to.
Okay,
Fill out things like.
Yeah.
that for that.
okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't
Student
forgetting about those
assistant
kiddos.
or Those type of things will still get.
Okay. Okay, great. So, I'm sorry, do we need to
That's.
have an approval
We need
or
to do anything.
we don't need to do anything? Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay, moving on, Mr. Marty. We're looking at some handbooks,
Yeah, just a few.
just a couple.
Just a few. Because you guys won't vote on this until next month, I'm going to touch on the things. But I'm not going to beat you to death because there are a few things that you've got on the agenda today. If you've got questions, I'll try and answer. And if not, I'll get you answers and get those back to you. At Mathis, I'm going to start with them. One of the things that she wanted to add was that recess won't be withheld for disciplinary reasons. There was actually legislation that came up on that. It did not pass, but Mrs. Cruz decided that she liked that and wanted to put that in there. Obviously, each one of them will have House Bill 2299, update on basic housekeeping stuff, having the correct board members, updated community busing fees, curriculum update, Kansas Early Learning Standards link updated, and add board approval for update for full day programming, just to be in line with what we've got going on. At the elementary, added personal device violation to tiers 2 and 3, cell phone policy, minor wording changes linked to weather and the weather aware chart that has to deal with when students go outside, what's the outside temperature, what's the wind chill, how long will they be out, those types of things, just some clarity on that. They put the student walkouts, which was Senate Bill 315, and then a number of updates to the volunteer section. The middle school updated the principal's welcome, updated the board members, academic behavior and social emotional expectations are taught using a core curriculum. Interventions, striking out the word period, behavior matrix and social emotional program, and then technology, final bullet point under responsibility needs to state turned off and stored in an electronic device lockbox. And that again goes with some of the things that we're talking about with managing technology. Updated bell schedule and ICM bell schedule, arrival and dismissal. I'm not going to bore you to death, but those are just changes on the times. Contacting SMS. Parents can contact SMS by phone. It will delete the fax number. I'm going to guess that they don't get very many faxes anymore. That's kind of typical. Add a transportation handbook link. We've done that with our handbooks to try and help with folks that have those questions. Update the box on tardies, and it lists the consequences. Update the policy JBE to current policy of 10 absences per year before they'll become unexcused unless there is mitigating circumstances. Update the progressive discipline policy to align closely with Seaman High School. Bags and backpacks must remain in the student's locker between 7:45 a.m. Again, it's a timing issue. Updated the electronic cell phone policy, remove statement failure of math and English, and remove archery club and future cities from athletics activities as those are no longer there. At the high school, again, updating board members, updating the bell schedule. Added foreign exchange student policy, aerosols and allergies policy, and transportation handbook. Again, that linked to transportation. Add 2 post-secondary assets to grad requirements for 2028 and beyond. That allows students time to adjust. And also added a statement about seniors must complete their IPS in order to participate in graduation ceremony. Added additional courses with weighted grades. Added language to advisory about the IPS requirement to participate in graduation. Update language for lockers.
All right.
Yes. Yep.
IPS individual.
Individual plans of study.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
That's all right. Sometimes I'll get throwing those out there and I don't even realize I've said it.
You know, I can't ever keep that
No,
one straight.
no.
Cause it's had 3 names now.
It has. Again, add transportation handbook under school buses, update student in good standing definitions, cell phone, electronic device. Update the extracurricular list, update dance policy. And then an addendum to the high school is the Pleasant Hill campus handbook, because they are a little bit unique, as you guys know. And really the changes are on Number two, students should wear shirts under their jackets and hoodies, as all outerwear will be removed and checked during our check-in procedures. One wouldn't necessarily think you'd have to do that, but that's one of those things that has to happen. Adding tech and AirPods, purses and bags, and then students may not return to or have access to the security room between check-in and dismissal. Leaving during this. Neither do I. Talk about smart watches. Leaving during the school day, strike written and put verbal requests from parent or guardian, and strike when the note is presented to the staff when parent contacts the school office before the student misses a class or leaves campus. On 4, students must not, and strike out, park only in the southwest parking lot away from staff and school, and instead listed as they need to park in a numbered spot. Breakfast, lunch.
Is that
and
an assigned number?
yeah, they will have numbers at the building, yes. Add outside snacks and drinks to the breakfast and lunch information. Strike, it is recommended that money be put in the student's account for the week on Monday mornings. That seemed to be a challenge. And add all food brought into Pleasant Hill Learning Campus must be sealed and screened by building staff or security. Students are welcome to bring snacks to PHLC. Snacks should be sealed, single serving size, and should not need to be prepared in a microwave or refrigerator. Students may bring one snack for the morning and one snack for the afternoon. Fountain drinks and unsealed beverages are not allowed at PHLC. And then some changes with the wellness opportunities, the wellness room. Strike must be monitored by staff when in use to is monitored via camera when in use. Walking break, there are designated areas on camp for students to walk it off if they are escalated or need a break. These areas include the blacktop and south hallway. Students are expected to stay in the designated areas if they are using this strategy, obviously with supervision. Lunch detention, level 1 and 2 behaviors will often result in lunch detention. Students serving lunch detention will not eat in the cafeteria with their peers. Office and school suspension rooms, strike in ISS, students will be asked to complete a restorative practice think sheet and execute a plan for returning to class. That seemed to be something that caused students to escalate having to do that. Out of school suspension is a last resort and will be used when the behavior is too disruptive for the school environment for the school to function, or with the behaviors that have created an unsafe situation. The restorative room, students in the restorative room are serving long-term suspensions. Students must go through the hearing process to be placed in the restorative room. If students are demonstrating regular office managed behavior, a parent meeting or an IEP meeting will be held, develop a contract, problem-solving behaviors, or discuss placement. And then a link to the other handbooks, one for the middle school, one for the high school, in addition to transportation and technology. And after you guys approve all those links will be added. It is a plenty of stuff for you to look at. And I know we won't vote on this until next month, but that gives you a month to do that. And if you got questions, certainly feel free to email me and I'll get the answers for you. Anything else right now?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
Moving on. Classified handbook, is that? Tanner?
Don't have a whole lot with this, just some simple edits. You'll go with me to page 5 there, scroll down. Okay, so just editing some stuff right there, cleaning it up on vice president, and getting Keith added in there. And then on page 7, just making this part here more generic. Removing Marty. Sorry, Marty. From that, yeah, I know. That way we don't have to go back to this and continue to edit year after year. So simple one there. Okay, page 18, Jeff. Similar thing there. We've got our Director of Health Services named in that with some information. Marty again with HR, and Jenny Boggs, admin assistant in there. So just removing specific names, using more generic titles and putting phone numbers in there. So we don't have to do this year after year. And then down to page 21. Okay, so looking at this here, we were wanting to make this more equivalent to what is in the certified staff and just make it more equitable for classified staff with that 100 days from 50 to 100. And then also changing that rate to equal to 70% of the employees' regularly hour rate per normally scheduled day instead of 50% a column. Moving forward, this is just going to make things much cleaner for finance and payroll, and calculating some of these compensations. Then also moving down a page, when it comes to sick leave buyback, there's a few different options. In that option 2 there, that was 70% starting pay for Call Me, and we're just bumping that up to 80%, once again, to make that more equitable comparatively to certified staff. Okay, page 23. So this is one of those things that has been in practice, just hasn't been updated yet in the policy. So at the conclusion of each year, any of that unused personal leave is automatically converted to the employee sick leave accumulation. We've been practicing that, just haven't updated that, which.
Tanner,
Yes, sir.
so out of, just, so they got 100 hours already accumulated, if they don't use all their days, they just lose that then?
I think we can go up to a total of 120 hours of accumulation. So which,
Okay, so
are we
if they
looking
get-
at this one here?
Well, it was earlier.
The previous one, the buyback? Yeah, so we give employees.
So if they're at their 100
Mhm.
maxed out,
Mhm.
whatever it is, 100,
Mhm.
120,
Correct.
they don't use all their personal
Yes.
days.
So that'll roll over. Now, they can buy back though in their sick leave so at the end of every year, we provide certified and classified employees who meet that threshold to buy back a certain amount of days.
Okay.
And
So
so,
they can-
yeah, they'll get paid at a rate.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll get paid for that, and you're really not gonna lose any money unless you are super maxed out and you're not taking any days at all.
Okay,
There might be a slight chance of that, but we have not seen it yet.
so they have the option.
Yes, sir. Yep. Page 24. In addition to this, what I understand, you guys have already approved this. This is just updating that information for classified staff. So that you'll see that it mimics more of the 12-month classified staff that you guys have already approved. And
I think that's it.
that is it. Pretty straightforward. Any questions?
Mr. Smith, I did hear somebody say on page 5, there might be a picture that needs to be removed.
That has been requested to stay, so. Swab debonair is what I think was told to me,
No, that has to stay there. Sorry, sir.
so.
We can move that now.
Nope. Thank you, Tanner. Moving on. Curriculum and instruction report. Marty is Megan.
Yeah, I am. Obviously you have her report in front of you and that'll be much more enlightening than I will be, but I will give you just a couple of quick sentences on it. Things shift more to planning for this time of year for the next school year. Megan included a list of summer tasks, Discovery Kindergarten at Kansas Children's Discovery Center, new staff tech and HR orientation. There's another one. They had one last week and there's another one in July. Summer work sessions, KISA and letters facilitator training. If you've got real specific questions, you can certainly ask, but I'm going to strongly encourage that we reach out to Megan for a much better answer than I will probably be able to give you.
Any questions for Marty that he will relay to Megan? Okay.
And you've got the other part of that is the instructional collaboration mornings. And again, I'll just touch on this. You had asked a few months ago about more information about instructional collaboration mornings and how things would work. Megan put together that presentation far better than any presentation that I think I've ever put together in my life. And it will serve as a guide and answer questions that were there and that were asked. We're not asking the board to approve that, but because you guys had asked that question, she wanted to make sure that you had that information. And just it's got shared vision, it's got schedules, it's got what research says, guidelines for success, consistency statement across buildings, attendance and accountability, collaboration locations and morning routines, team purposes and responsibilities, self-correcting feedback loop, collaboration agendas and calendars, being data-driven, standards alignment, success measures, and answers to the frequently asked questions that happen during the focus groups. Any questions that I probably will stumble through that you have on any of that?
No, please thank Megan for
I-
the
Yeah, I thank.
slide deck. It was,
We thank her today.
it actually was really, really,
I-
really good.
she did a good job.
All of it.
It did answer a lot of the questions that we.
It did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Thank you, Marty.
Yeah.
Miss Deidre, Special Services Report.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I would like to talk about the Autism Resource Team. So Siemens Autism Resource Team has always been trained through TASN, which is the Technical Assistant Network through KSDP. They provide wonderful trainings for the ART teams across Kansas. They were created years ago when autism became very prevalent and no one knew what to do with students with autism. So the purpose of that team was to train teams of people in each district to recognize autism, give an educational diagnosis, and then train individual needs of students with autism. So our team, about 8 people, would go around for individual students and train the teams in regard to their autism. So and that's what we've done for years. It's not sustainable because of so many students with autism. So they shifted their focus starting next year to focus on being a train the trainer model and build capacity amongst all of the teachers so that we're not looking at individual students, but all of our teachers. So this summer they're having a big Autism Institute, which some of our team is going to, and then they'll be training all year long. So we'll provide more professional development, new professional development for all of our teachers rather than just small group of teachers to be trained. So we're excited about that. We hope we can build capacity amongst our teachers in the area of autism. So that is something new that's going to happen this year. I think we had some questions in regards to my last item on the report. If you keep going down, Jeff, which is the preschool screening data. So if you look at this year's data and last year's data, if you have any questions. So I asked Sarah Cruz, the principal, to give me data on every single screener. So across the bottom is every single monthly screener that we had at Mel. And if you look at the blue, those are the students that were referred for comprehensive evaluations for special education. SBK is those are the students that apply for the SBK program, state preschool program. And then the yellow is the students that qualified in the community student program. For your information, not all of the kids could come on campus because we didn't have spots for all of them. The comprehensive evaluations did, but the other ones did not. As you see by the end, March, April, May, we had similar screenings last year, and not very many of those students could start because we're full by then. But those are the breakdown. Is that what you were thinking, Diane?
I wasn't sure what I was looking at, was
Okay.
the question was, I didn't know exactly, like, are these the number of kids we're screening, or the number of kids we're screening who qualify, and that's where I
Right,
get.
those are like, for example, the first line, if you see, it was 2 kids and 7 kids, we screened 16 students. And of those 16 students, that is the area in which they qualified under, for our preschool students.
Thank you.
So, Idra, is it true that only the blue ones are necessarily qualifying for an IEP?
Yeah, well, they're being evaluated for an
Evaluated.
IEP.
Okay.
And we've kind of changed our philosophy. It is really hard to decide this kid should be qualified for an IEP in a 4-hour screening when it's a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. So we often put them on campus and they qualify for SBK or maybe even a community student, but we'd rather get them on campus if we have a question and then evaluate them maybe a couple months later, especially if they haven't had any early intervention. So we like to get them on campus, provide a little early intervention, and then see if they need a comprehensive evaluation. Sometimes you just know that the child needs a comprehensive.
And then for the kiddos later on in the year who we don't have spots for them anymore, are those kids placed on any type of list for as we're going into regular school year or for the next year? Okay.
They're on the waiting list.
Okay.
Yes, we get as many, and of course, we honestly, the students on IEP 100%, whether the class is full or not, we have to give you a slot. SBK students, state preschool are next, and then community students are most of the ones that are on the waiting list. But we do have students state pre-K that end up on our waiting list as well, but yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Ms. Deidre.
Thank you.
Mr. Lance. Hey, Jeff, could you bring me a paper towel? My water is sweating and it's starting to drive me
Okay,
crazy.
isn't it?
It is. I don't want it to get wet. Sorry.
You're good.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. I apologize. Hello.
Bringing in from Logan Elementary, we finished up here a couple weeks ago. We used quite a few bags to fill in that area. We had to order another round, but this is the French product of the canopy at Logan where the field house used to be. Thank God for the loader, because it moved a lot of mulch for us that we didn't have to. So. And then second floor. These are the guys, Paul's floors, they were coming in and changing out a floor. If you leave, you can swing by and look, second floor is completely done in the hallway, the main hallway. But yeah, they spent about 2.5, almost 3 hours the first time. And then they spent the last part, almost a day and a half, trying to pull that carpet we can see right now. The machine that they had in there was absolutely, I want one. So, other than that, that was.
It wasn't terribly high tech, so you might be able to build one.
You know, I was just saying, but it was.
Did its job.
Pulling up that carpet, so. Pretty much the month of May was pretty quiet because of the end of the school year, graduation, was getting everything ready for everybody. That was 2 of the main projects that we were trying to get done.
Are we doing the rest of the floors in the SEC?
Okay,
What? Oh, okay.
That one was particularly bad in spots.
Gotcha.
so
Are you doing the stairs?
eventually, stairs will probably
Which
be
means
last.
no.
Yeah.
I got 8 rooms downstairs to do, and then I can start up here on the floor, up here on the third floor. So, we'll have carpets where to get everything. And summer projects have officially started, so. A couple of things that moved on me that's making me a little stressful, but it's all right. So, anyway.
Thanks. No, sir. Thank you. All right, moving on to action items. Mr. Marty. We are looking at end of lease.
Absolutely.
purchases.
If you remember, Ronnie gave a great presentation a few months ago. And one of the things that she talked about was staying up to date and having the right buses and the right number of buses. We are recommending that you'll notice that there are 4 on there. We only need 3. And I'm not going to tell you which one of the 3 because I'm going to let her determine which ones based on the VIN. She's the one that knows that for certain. But we are asking for you to approve 3 of the aforementioned bus leases that end. We could make those purchases for $37,705 per bus for a total of $113,115. We're coming to you with this now because the leases expire June 30th. And we either have to renew for another year on the lease or we purchase them. They're 2020 buses, so we should get quite a bit of life left out of it. Pretty good deal for us. Any questions for me? And it is budgeted for out of capital outlay, part of the long range planning facility.
Right, I have just a question, Marty, how much have we paid on a lease? And the purchase price compared to if we would have bought them 5 years ago?
If we would have bought them originally, we would save money buying them outright, which is what we try to do now. At that time, based on where we were at with the amount of money we had in capital outlay and some other issues that were going on, it was the timing to get as many buses as we needed forced us into a position where we got leases, as opposed to right now, Rhonda's got us at a pretty good spot where we're ideally, if we bought 1 to 2 buses a year, this being kind of a weird exception. And we will come to you probably next month. We've received the grant, the VW grant, and we're going to be able to purchase 3 buses at the cost of a little over 1. So when we can get those things, that helps, but it's taken some time to get there. Yes, absolutely. It would have been cheaper in the long haul to have not leased them.
Any more questions for Marty?
So got one more. Do we have any more leases out there?
I would have to check with Ronna. I think we still have a few that are still.
Not very many.
Just curious.
We have tried to phase those out and get those going. The first ones were like 2018. And again, part of the restriction too is you only got so many miles before it costs us more on those leases. So it becomes problematic. Again, if you're in a bind and financially you need to do that, it can save you money in the short term. Over the long term, it is not the way to go.
So request to buy 3 buses?
Three
Yes,
buses.
and let 1 lease go.
Right.
Yes.
We only need 3 of the 4.
One of those 4 does say has an end date of 5/30, so I'm going to assume that that one's already taken care of.
Yeah, probably.
So,
All right, just need a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Keith, seconded by Diana. Any more discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is it still you, Marty?
Yep, still me.
Okay.
As you may have been aware, a vehicle drove through the wall at Logan Elementary a while ago. What you see are 2 bids for the permanent repairs to the building. We were fortunate that at Logan, it hit between 2 support beams, and really, you wouldn't have thought it. And when you see the pictures, you would have thought it was pretty extensive damage. However, because it hit at the perfect spot, I mean, and no one was in the classroom. The cost to repair it isn't going to be as much as what we feared it would be. We've got 2 bids. We've got one for Murray and Sons for 55,000, and we've got one for Cine for 29,687. We would recommend approving the bid from Cine as we continue to work with our insurance company, keeping in mind we have a $25,000 deductible. But Cine is who we would recommend on that bid.
What are the exclusions between the two? Where's the difference?
Masonry.
Huh?
It was the masonry work.
I can say that I suspect that Murray and Sons bid was not with the thought that they truly wanted to do the work this summer. We will bid this, but you want to pay this amount, we will go ahead and do it, but not necessarily one that they were.
So the scope of both bids is essentially the same,
Yeah,
but the masonry on Cine's is much less.
by a lot.
By about 17,000, something like that.
I just want to first say thank you for taking care of the problem as efficiently as you and your team did.
Yeah.
Great job. I will. As long as my director of facilities is supportive of this bid. Or the Cine bid.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the Cine bid.
Second.
Been moved by Keith, seconded by Michelle. Any more discussion, questions?
What? Has it always been called the Seni Company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce Seni?
Not always.
Is that like a name of somebody? It's not the Seine River in France?
No, it's
No.
Bruce Cini was the
Bruce
guy's
Cini.
name.
It's not a relevant question.
It is.
And yet important.
Hey, I drive by that place a lot. I'm like,
The time to learn is always a good time.
You get,
So there.
gets an SE. Okay. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
You lost us.
I did. Marty,
Yeah.
Indian Creek.
We also had a vehicle drive through the wall at Indian Creek. That was a little bit earlier, though.
that like.
That was like a week or so
Individual
before.
insurance for that, or through the wall insurance?
Yeah, I think we're going to look into that.
It's nothing cheap in construction.
You'll see that the two bids for the repairs that will leave the building structurally sound, and that's the key. Murray and Sons has a bid for 207,331, and City has a bid for $173,067. Now, we would recommend approving the bid from City as we work with our insurance company. Again, it's a $25,000 deductible. Now, one of the things that we have done is we did have the same company that tore down the field house. We had them take a look and see what would it cost to do that. We actually got part of the bid or some numbers in less than what he originally had said, but it's still pretty substantial. To tear the entire building down would cost more than what these repairs would. And that would be with the assumption that they're not going to get anything as far as asbestos abatement or anything like that, that will increase the cost. At this point, we would recommend that we go with the bid from Cini, even though there would be some benefits to tearing the building down and being rid of it. It would go off of our insurance from the standpoint of it costs us more for that building than it would if it was just a vacant lot. But at this point, I think we.
That doesn't involve the whole
Side
center,
one.
right? It's just a sale.
We're just fixing one building.
Correct. And to make certain that it is structurally sound to.
The county value of that building.
No,
The county value of that building.
nothing, because they don't appraise those in the same way. I don't know why, but some of those ones that have no taxes, their appraisal is way below
actual value. A little bit of experience now, yeah. Not sure why that's so low. We don't know what the county appraisal value is. I can find it.
Look it up. So,
Do you have a estimate of what they were saying to tear the whole thing down? Give me a rough.
It was about around 200,000.
Yeah, I would agree with that number.
And most of it is truck, $5, $6 gas and vehicles.
Right.
So
So what is-
200 and some versus 173.
Right, but his bid is dependent upon some factors that we won't know until they would start to.
What they might.
Asbestos
Right.
abatements.
And I suspect with the age of the building and everything, I think it would be, I would be surprised if they didn't have some additional costs that they're gonna have to have.
So what is the building used for right now? Storage,
And you know, it's a big outreach.
so really not
No.
educational purposes.
And I think the last two interested parties that have looked at it as far as the potential to sell it.
Union Creek,
Did not get back with us after
how
we.
much of that's
walked the
land, and how
building.
much is the building?
There's a lot of.
It is
Is
almost
it broken
all improvement value. It's 80,000 per land.
How many acres are there? Like 20 acres? Something like that?
It is.
It's an L shape. If I'm-
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
right? It goes back and there's another
9 acres.
shed or
The
something.
shed back
9 acres.
9 acres.
Was that all?
Expand the last column, yeah, or. all the
So
signs that I
my
can't see.
question to talk about this would be, what is our long-term plan for that building? Before we spend $175,000 to fix a building that we don't
one more.
use or want and
Right.
eventually are gonna tear it down.
Right, keep in mind, we would only be spending 25,000. Because it is
Oh,
insurance
sure,
claim.
but still,
However.
if we paid to
however,
tear it down, it's all
Right.
on us, right?
Even, right. The thing to keep in mind is if it's there. Two things. One, it's a claim. Which impacts your
Sure.
overall rate, which this year, right now, we did great. But our property and casualty insurance, which we pay about $725,000 a year for. How much does that impact it? The second thing is then we still have a building that is being covered by the insurance. And that is more expensive than what it is if we just had a vacant lot.
Or sold the lot.
So they're gonna do this work in just over a week and a half. It's 5 hours.
Did it get into the roof? Did anything sag in the roof?
So that's part of the. So when we first started this, we were just doing 3 beams that was located. Well. For a period of time, we had all these rains, and it was now extended, so we had to move that to 6 beams.
So question 2 is the guy who ran into it that stole the truck, is his insurance company on the hook?
Could be.
Wasn't he uninsured?
I was
Well,
gonna
we
say,
could-
I thought he wasn't insured.
I'm sure our insurance company
Our
will
insurance
try to
company.
go after.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
get
yeah.
reach something from him, his insurance, something.
Yes, they will.
They
are very
will.
aggressive.
I know they will.
Yeah.
To follow up on that though. Hearing what Marty said, we Seaman, USD 345, responsible for $25,000 of this cost. Are we, is the insurance going after the 25,000? Or is the insurance going after the 172?
The insurance going after this much.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Same way on the Logan.
Siemens
Right,
only
the other
counts
last
It's gonna go after
Right.
whoever
But
the
how does
lady
that
was.
impact our bottom line? It doesn't impact our bottom.
Well, if
The worst
if they get
25,000.
reimbursed from the,
Right,
it won't be a hickey against us. It shouldn't be.
Right, the worst case scenario is it costs us $25,000 for each building. And we take a hit on claims. on our claims, if they're not able to recover
Yes,
anything.
yes.
That's the worst case scenario.
Do we know if
The
the
best
lady
case,
that ran into Logan, was she covered? Was she uninsured?
she had insurance, and
So in theory, that should be covered.
that is what our hope
Theory.
is.
Let me take this conversation a little different direction. Logan is an occupied learning institution.
Yes. It needs to be, yeah.
We don't have a lot of choice.
Right.
I'm not really a proponent of spending $25,000 for this. My question next to you, sir, is it watertight? Is it sealed up? Is there in? If we push this off a little bit, what's it gonna do? To allow us a little more time to determine what the future of this building looks like.
The engineer's concern was that it's going to take some gusts of wind, not that that ever happens in the state of Kansas, and some rain, which really doesn't always happen in the state of Kansas.
But we've had a lot of recently.
And that's, yeah, that especially the old gym area is not structurally safe. Right now, we've had it blocked off. And North Topeka Outreach, we don't let them go in there. We took everything out of there. Lance and the guys did a great job of getting everything into a different section of the building, which is secure. But that section of the building, it would be the question mark. We don't have to get in a hurry, but we would have to make a decision at some point. Do we tear it down or do we fix it?
So did you ask me personally what it would cost to do just the gym?
There you go. Kyle, Donna, and then Diane. Okay.
Say that again, Lane.
It's cost more than what.
Demolition costs
Tear
are,
out the two walls. They have to secure the outside.
And then
they got a
Gotcha.
bill.
Gotcha.
Demolition
So we have
costs
a-
are 35, 38 bucks a square foot. Right.
Donna has questions.
So if demolition's happening, it should basically be the whole building.
yeah,
Probably.
if we're gonna do that, we had them look at both ways.
Right, okay.
But I think Lance and I would, you would never break Lance and I's heart if you said, we just need to raise the entire building and drop it. But it is a matter of cost, and this was a building we had a knock on a few years ago, and we decided not to.
Yeah.
But to that fact, Lance, where do you go with all the stuff that's?
Hold on, hold on. Diana had a question. I'm trying to organize it. Okay. Diana had a question.
Just briefly, this is kind of evolving into a conversation about what we do with that building long term, and we do have a board retreat coming up. Would this be something that we should have a longer conversation about with more information from our team?
Unfortunately, our board retreat, we only have 2 hours and the agenda is full.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we'll have to have the conversation now.
So I guess I look at this and I think, okay, so we fix this building now. And 5 years down the road, we're still holding on to this building and paying premiums on it. So do we spend the money now? Or do we just drag this out?
My point is, that is, it's gonna cost more 5 years from now.
Yes. And so would it be a reasonable to get an up-to-date, I don't know how recent your estimate was?
Just last week.
You just got one last week?
May 28th.
McPherson was.
Or to raise the whole building?
Okay.
And we can get a specific number on that and have him do a more thorough inspection to try and see if there's going to be.
Just determinant
abatements and
on
stuff like that.
abatement,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I was just trying to get all this done.
Yes, yeah, I figured.
Yes, Kyle.
So if we do scrape it down to dirt, parking lot and everything, get it all, what's our plan then to just sell the property to somebody to build a couple houses on it, or keep the property
That's
for?
up to you.
I guess
That is
that's
up
the
to you
next
guys,
question.
but if you'll remember, we brought this to you about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it
And
was
I
about $1
voted
million
no.
offer. And at that time, the board was not interested in selling.
I wasn't on
I
the board.
was.
I was.
I was. Just saying.
No, somebody wants to buy them, we'll sell.
I think, so going back to that conversation, I think we had concerns of people invading our community, which anyway, we don't need to go from there, but Michelle
Is that, I get where you're
I'm
going,
just saying.
Kyle. But is that something that we can? We don't need to know what we're gonna do with
We
it
don't.
right now.
Yes.
We don't. And vacant property in this district is very valuable.
It
And
is.
I'd be smart to keep it because we don't know what future we'd want for our own use. And we don't pay property tax on it because our insurance would be very minimal. So to have a 9 acres of empty dirt would be very cheap for us to
Except
keep.
there's a barn or something. back
Yeah,
there.
but that can't be much insurance on it. Yeah, I've never been back there, but it's.
Less insurance, less electricity, less water, less gas.
Yes, yes.
Does
No,
it
I'm-
have all that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
We maintain it, keep it from deteriorating faster. Any building that's empty is gonna
It's gonna,
deteriorate,
yeah.
and it's been a decade since that's been used.
I wasn't
So-
on the board when we had the conversations previously, but I do know that when we were discussing what to do with Rochester, there was a lot of community sentiment about that. Are there equal concerns with Indian Creek, Kyle?
Well,
You would know more than I
there
would.
was supposedly, and we'd have to go back and check, maybe, I don't know. When we closed those schools, that they would be used for student education type purposes only. And when we sold and somebody tore down Rochester, that, I don't know how that happened supposedly. That was before me. I don't know all the details.
I don't know.
But we sold Rochester to somebody and they took a bulldozer in there and got rid of it,
Well, for a while, Indian Creek had Boys and Girls Club there.
right?
And then.
Now it's just at the schools, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and they're using it for storage, so, right, is all their,
And North Topeka.
It's just.
no, I mean, not the boy,
You
think the North-
there you go. But they aren't doing any distribution or anything out of there, are they?
Yes,
Oh, they are?
that's where they build their
That's, but
backpacks.
They
Not
stay there now, some of them.
not during the summer, but that's what they do during the school year.
And people pick them up there?
No, they take them to the building.
Okay, right, so it's not like they couldn't
They
use another
don't
facility.
distribute
Right,
out of.
But even with that, that's, and I don't want to sound callous, but that's not a district education. That's not part of our educating our students, you know,
It's a good community
it's
service.
a community service, but I don't know. if That's
It's not
a
like there's
reason.
nowhere else for them to go.
Yes, and I don't know if that's a reason to keep an old building.
Me not knowing anything about. Like Keith does, cause he works with it every day, it makes more sense to tear it down. I mean, to fix one wall in a building that
And certainly we
We
could wait,
don't use,
we could get a more specific bid
that would be awesome.
and come back next month. It's not something we have to do now because we're not using the building other than storage.
More
Oh,
specific bid on raising it.
Correct.
Yes.
That way you have things to
Yes.
compare it to.
So if the wind blows just right and we get the 5-inch rain, how much more will? it be to fix it?
Exactly, that's what I was getting ready to say, like,
And
can't
it
just
costs less
wait
to
until
tear it
next
down.
month.
Probably taking
I mean,
your ability to fix it.
is that gonna go up to 300,000 or?
Indeed, what we started with.
And now we're to 6.
Because the
Because-
range we had.
Cause those are wooden beams.
When does it hit, for like what month?
Like April,
April, like 20,
Yeah.
yeah.
Around April,
somewhere around there.
Keith, did you have a comment?
My question is to the director of our facilities. Hearing everything you've heard, what would you do right now?
Right now.
This?
Hearing our conversation.
And long term,
Yes. Okay. And I make a recommendation that we push this the next month as an action item to allow time for a decanting cost for this facility.
Get hold of Shannon and have him.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. Any more discussion, questions for Lance and Marty? Okay, we don't have to vote on it. They made a motion, but it's just a discussion item and it's
Yeah.
moving to next month.
This is
so
a
we're good.
discussion. I thought
Or-
this was.
I'm sorry, it's
This
an
was an
action
action,
item.
but no action.
But
would
no
be
action.
to,
Right.
like you said, punt it to next month. And we know, he knows to.
Do you think are you comfortable getting us the numbers by next month?
The only reason I did it was just trying to get it.
I appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah.
I just really am struggling with.
Will you also be, I know this is just very small considering the Kansas weather, we just don't know, but if you see any other damage or issues, will you just let Mr. Wilson know? So then he can inform us.
Seems like go over this first thing.
He's a good communicator.
Yes,
Always
ma'am.
keeps us in the-
So can I add to that request that if we were ever going to put that building back into service,
Jeez.
I mean, that would, do we have any guesstimate on what that would cost?
Oh.
I mean, that'd be astronomical,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's.
Would you say
okay, I mean, that-
Lance has an answer?
So
Yeah.
just what, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, to redo the roof, it's almost like 175, 185,000.
Be cheaper to build a new building.
HVAC is probably.
That's probably even.
And
Pieces aren't getting cheap.
that's what I'm saying, is if we wanted to try to make that into a learning center, school.
It would be
We would-
cheaper for us to build
Build
a
a
new
new building.
facility than it would be. to try-
Right,
That would always be my recommendation. Even if it weren't more expensive, you would get more value out of it.
sure, and
Right.
it'd be built, every,
Yes,
whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
So-
done.
just to double check, we don't have to vote on anything, we're punting it to July. Right? Yes,
With
more info.
With more information.
Yeah, just no action.
No action.
Sweet.
Policy updates, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. I've got them here somewhere.
Thank you, Lance. Thank you, Marty.
You've got JCDC, Student Personal Electronic Communication Devices, and you guys have talked about that, but this is a more general KSB policy that allows us then to have our actual practices within that. Our KFE, Kansas Public Offender Registry, which we talked about last time about ensuring that we do not, if possible, allow individuals who are on the public offender registry in our buildings. And then IIDGC is staff online activities, which is a second piece of House Bill 2299. Did I get that number right? Anyway, not important, but it ensures that we have safe communications between staff and students and not over public social media areas.
On track.
Yeah, untrackable. It's a good way to put it.
So I do have a question.
Yes.
So on the public offender registry, I know this
Yes.
is just but do we need, what is our policy or what are we gonna do? Joe Smith walks in the office, do we have a policy in place on how we're gonna check that, what the procedure is?
Yes.
Or,
And that would not go in necessarily board policy, but that would go into our crisis handbook.
okay.
Is where that would go.
Perfect. Okay.
And Candace, when is that back to the board again? You know?
I don't know if we've ever voted. That's just something we keep.
Okay.
Update on our.
And we just bring it to executive session every once in a while for them to look at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. this was
Yeah,
pretty
because-
general and
Yes, it's very
I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
But you know what? If I walk into, like when I went and read at Elmont, I walked into the office and I gave her my license and she did the strategic thing every time I went there.
But I
Yeah.
think that's only for volunteers, isn't it?
Is it? Is that?
Or is it for
mandatory?
any?
No, that is for a normal guest. The place that we're,
Would that,
What we're still working on is, so like a football game, you're not gonna check everybody
Right.
that goes into a football game. Not probably even gonna do a high school basketball game, but when we're talking about a music
Okay,
event, we tried it at Northern
Okay.
Hills earlier this year. I think there was an hour-ish wait.
Wasn't that for sixth grade promotion?
That made, well, sixth grade promotion, they did it as well. That was maybe not quite an hour. Was that 45 minutes maybe? 30, 35, something in that. So we got to figure something that is, we don't always check every single person. And so we're still working on the practice.
So,
This policy would cover that.
so can we come up with something that is I'm gonna say a parent pass? That I have a kid at
Yeah,
Northern Hills,
we've talked about that as
you
well.
know, and you get a pass
Yep.
that says, I'm a parent of little Joey here.
And I've been checked.
And yeah,
It would have to be that I've been checked.
yeah, you always have that problem. That's another guy.
Well-
Pass, but. Yeah,
Well,
unless you
the
had a picture
argument
of it.
is not just the person with the pass, but you can be put on that registry at any time.
Good point. Good, yeah.
So there are some challenges, but we've got to, at some point, find something that is reasonable.
what do other schools do?
Most of them in the super large scale things, they do not check them. I'm trying to remember, I think it's Spring Hill, we tried to do, if they were in the building, not the gym, but in the hallway area, like, sometimes we would do for a Halloween, we would still have them checked. You don't have as much access to an after school,
Right.
event that you would have if they're in class. So I've seen that be, but we've been talking, and Marty, you may have more information on what they've talked about than I do.
Obviously, the sporting events and things like that, the middle school and high school are not reasonable. And at this point, with the elementary principals, we will take the same approach for all those things that happen during the school day from bell to bell. We will attempt to go ahead and we want to have something consistent across all of them.
Yeah.
When people come in for things, they're going to be checked. And again, because they could be on the list later. We'll also utilize, if we've got something that's going to be larger, we can't use more than one computer for this teachings at a time, because there are complications with that. But what we can do is use the KVI registry. And we can use that on the other computers and have those going as well. But we'll also have, each one of the elementary buildings will have, let's say it's sixth grade promotion, parents or people that are attending will come into a staged area so that we can try and expedite them being brought through as quickly as we can. So we'll try to match it similarly to what the secondary does. As far as after school events, probably not going to be able to do that. And we'll have to refine it as we go. I think about the fact that 2 years ago, we didn't have any system other than the volunteer system. And so we are still in an evolutionary stage of that. And where we are today is probably not as defined as we will be even in the spring semester.
Which is exactly to your point of why the board policy is general, yet the practice will probably evolve and change over time.
Okay.
Yeah, you got so many variables.
A few, it's over everything we do, there's something, right?
I mean, you got the parent student conferences.
Yeah.
It's a one that keep, you know.
Yeah.
If a person's on the list, they probably have the right to go talk to their teacher.
They do.
I mean, but how do you?
They're going to an IEP.
Mhm. Or, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of.
There's some purple things, but those are fairly easy to take care of. Those are one-offs. We can make arrangements to know that they are on the list, yet we make arrangements for them to have a meeting, not around other kids.
So as part of that policy, whether it's a school board policy or the procedures, if somebody knowingly lets somebody come in and those are on the registry. What, do we need to make sure that we have a consequence for that? That's
So you don't put consequence in board
not
policy.
this, but
Right.
in our,
So everything we
like
do
the
for
deal-
employees and breaking board policy has potential consequences with HR. In fact, when we talk about having write-ups, we access what board policy was broken in that action. And almost every action that we have, employee discipline for, we can trace back to a board policy that was broken or a handbook policy procedure that was broken. And so, yes, certainly on that, we just wouldn't necessarily write it in. But before this policy, or actually currently right now, there is no policy that says they can't be here, which was a surprise to me.
we have Bill discussed them all.
Yes, three of them, actually. I think one was Senate and two were House bill. Yep.
I move that we accept the policy updates as presented.
Second. Moved by Michelle. Donna beat you. Donna second. Any more discussion?
Just to be clear,
Yep.
this only states if you're on a registered list. If you're not on a registered list or just a queue, you're not part of this. Correct?
Correct.
Right, just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Good.
Moved by Michelle, seconded by Donna. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Calendar updates, Mr. Wilson.
Again, just a request and, you heard Mr. Jones talk about it a little earlier about, or actually it was, Travis talk about, moving April 30th to an early release day in order to mostly have well, two things. One, have access at the high school, but two, that have access for the workers that are gonna work the Seaman relays.
Madam President, I make a motion.
Brady.
No, I make a motion to make April 30th of 2027 an early release day due to the Seaman relays.
I'll say,
Moved by Donna, seconded by Kyle. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
don't you have something to go fix?
In that order.
That's fine.
In that order. Okay. I make a motion to go into executive.
Next is the random.
Oh, yes, see, thank you.
Action
I forgot about it.
Oh,
Never mind.
Yeah.
Why is he still hanging
I know, Mr. Jones.
Relays.
He just likes you guys that much.
Oh, thank you, Candace. We moved the nicotine testing to action items.
Madam President.
Go, Braden.
Yes, Brayden.
I would like to approve Mr. Jones's recommendation of scrapping the nicotine testing out of our drug testing program.
Second.
Been moved by Brayden, seconded by Michelle. Any more discussion on that? Hearing,
We're
none.
not- Oh,
You know,
if we're not gonna test nicotine, how do we? Do we have a problem in bathrooms? That's my question.
We have the.
the sensors in bathrooms.
They're working sufficiently.
Base detectors work in bathrooms?
Yes.
Mr. Jones? Okay.
So, do we have a problem with nicotine, smoking, vaping at school property during?
Yeah, there's an issue that across that.
But the testing.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, testing has no impact on that. This is
Mr.
stuff they do off campus.
Could you come up to the mic so anybody that's watching online will also be able to hear you? Thank you. I
What
apologize.
your motion is about is the random testing.
That is correct.
Brandon, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
because-
about-
Yeah,
Anything on campus, you already have.
the on campus, we do address as we come across it. And Majority of those are students that are not involved in any athletics or activities.
And that covers more than just catching somebody baiting. If they get caught with the bait,
Correct.
whatever.
If it's in the
bait
possession,
thing,
Right, and then it's-
so none of that changes. This is just.
This is just the random
Just the
testing.
random testing with ours.
That is correct.
Good questions, though.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's been
Moved
moved
and
by
seconded.
Braden, moved and seconded, and no more discussion? Yeah. All in favor, raise your hand, and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thanks.
Now, I will make a motion to go into executive session to discuss confidential employee information pursuant to the exception relating to personnel matters of non-elected personnel, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom no later than I'm probably gonna go 25 minutes, so 8:26. I need a second.
Second.
Moved by Christie, seconded by Donna. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. No one else is invited. Yeah. No, I make a motion, I lost my papers. I make a motion to approve the superintendent's contract as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Negotiation.
All right, Tanner.
I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss negotiations pursuant to employer-employee negotiations under coma. And the open meeting will resume in the boardroom no later than, how much time you need, Tanner?
7 minutes.
Second.
Go 8:35.
That's second.
It will
8:35.
resume in the board meeting no later than 8:35. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, inviting in Mr. Tanner Smith and Mr. Brad Wilson. Good job. I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss out-of-district denial appeals to the exception relating to actions adversely or favorably affecting a student under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom no later than 8:55.
Second.
It's been seconded by Donna. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. back in session.
President.
Yes, Mr. McNorton.
There. I make a motion to uphold the district's decision on student one to not grant the inter-district transfer for next year.
It's been moved by Kyle, seconded by Donna. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Madam President,
Mr. McNorton.
I make a motion that we uphold the district's decision to not grant the student two's inter-district transfer for next year.
Moved by Kyle, seconded by Donna. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.